I'm Isla Sykes,
It's just Isla Sykes calling.
and I'm incredibly opinionated.
I know people.
Some of them. You think only some of them are racist?
Let me finish what I'm saying. I know people.
I'm also really nosy and a curious person. In these episodes, I'll be investigating everything and anything. From crime
You know, it's one of the most deprived areas. I think that's a gunshot.
to social issues. Right, so can you tell me at what point you felt like you wanted to identify as a cat? And a whole lot in between. This is Isla Sykes Investigates. Let's get into the episode. So when it comes to politics, I think it's definitely safe to say I live in a massive echo chamber. I'm involved in my local Labour Party, so the people I was surrounded with who are into politics are a lot more left-wing. So when I do see people voting for Reform or Tories, more right-wing parties, I'm generally like, what the hell? So this is definitely going to be really biased. I'm not even going to try and be neutral because when it comes to politics, me and being neutral just doesn't mix. So I hope we all learn something. But again, don't expect this to be unbiased. It will be biased. So in recent elections, there's been a massive increase of young men voting more right-wing. Especially this year, we've had so many elections from the USA, the UK, and all across Europe. And all of those elections have shown there's an increase in young men voting right-wing. Obviously, not all of those elections ended up with those parties winning, like in the UK, Labour won. But as we saw in the USA with Donald Trump winning, he relied massively on a young male demographic. So I really want to find out why this is happening, what's caused this shift, who's responsible, and also what we can do about it. So let's get into it.
First, I'm talking to Sean Powell, someone who is self-proclaimed as anti-establishment, to see what he thinks.
Why do you think that there's been an increase in young men voting for more right-wing parties?
Well, a lot of people, a lot of left-wing politicians, I feel like are anti-young men, and they're anti, like you hear like men are the problem, men are this, men are that, and you know the whole victim hierarchy of like whatever it would be, like white man, then like whatever, and then the top is like disabled, whatever. White men are at the bottom of it. And the thing is, there's tons and tons and tons of young men who have left-wing beliefs, but you're actually being told that you are bad for being how you naturally are.
Where do you feel like you're being told it's bad from?
From wokeness.
Like directly saying that like white men are bad?
Yeah, people say that all the time.
Do you feel like, so for example in the UK, the Labour Party, the more left-wing party we've got in government, do you think they've got that rhetoric as well, or do you think it's more across America?
It's more an American thing, and it's weird because it's like I don't even think it's the parties, but I think it's the people that the parties accept.
Yeah, because in the UK in the recent election, young men were twice as likely to vote for Reform as young women. For Reform, do you know much about them in the UK and why there's
I know a little bit about
that
it.
split in gender?
Yeah, I know a little bit about it. I think it's a similar thing. It's like also young men are just doing worse globally. Like
In what ways?
well, I mean like I don't mean globally, like but in modern countries, women are getting more degrees than men. There are more men dropping out of unis, and there's a massive issue with young men not having role models.
Do you think that's why they sort of tend to look towards big figures like Andrew Tate that are talking directly to them then?
I feel like a lot of young men are expected to act like women and expected to be like that, but that's just not how.
When you say act like women, what do you specifically mean?
I mean, be more polite, be less aggressive, because men are more naturally aggressive.
Do you see that as a bad thing?
Yeah, because aggression can be channeled into the best things on earth. Like to be a hyper successful person, you need to be like hyper focused, hyper like.
But that's not aggression.
That is aggressive. It's competitive.
I guess it comes down to semantics and just how people view things, but I think people wanting anyone to be less aggressive, I don't know how that's a bad thing. But
I mean, maybe aggressive is the wrong word, but I mean competitive and like for me, with all my male friends, everything's a competition. Everything is like but it's in a fun way and in a positive way, and I think that's missing in a lot of young men's life. When you have a bunch of unsuccessful men because they have no role model, they have no like future prospects, the women aren't attracted to them because they are unattractive. They're not useful people. I think one thing that people are missing about what it's like to be a man is that like you are only valued for how useful you are. And
do you think?
Yeah, I do think that. I mean, it's like it's like the second you turn 18, you're competing with a 35-year-old man. Because
is that not the same for both genders? Are
no.
you thinking about jobs or?
I'm thinking about as a person.
Okay.
Like if you're a girl, you're born and you have the ability to make children, and that's the most important thing in the world. So it's like you have something already. If you're a man, you're just a little like.
I mean, men can make kids as well. I know.
No, but if you had, you're only valued for what you can provide to people, and if you're not doing well, if you're not what's the word, like, if you haven't got the right upbringing, if you're not smart, if you're not successful, if you're not confident, if you're not all these things, you can't be successful. And when men start doing worse, then you have a breakdown in families because no one wants to date them. There's more and more young men being single, and the most dangerous people on earth are single young men. Like, because you're just like, you just hate the world, you hate everyone around you, and that's where all the violence and hate comes from, is young men not being good enough for other people, so that they can't provide anything, so they feel useless, because in a way they are.
That's interesting, because I think and I know that my friends are very similar to this, and like most women I know, when they think about someone they'd want to date, the main thing is kindness and being a kind person, right? And I know job obviously comes into it, like, you know, you have to live obviously, but I don't know, I feel like, I guess we're seeing it from different sides.
But I think it's a weird thing, because it's like something that, because you don't know what it's like, you don't know, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a girl, but it's like, there's something that people miss about boys, that it's like, you have to be everything. Like, being kind, is that it? There's tons of nice, kind people, but you wouldn't date them. Like,
I know a lot of like conventionally unattractive guys that are in relationships with women because they're a really nice and emotionally intelligent person.
I guarantee there's something, you need to be that and successful to be a man and have a good family.
Do you think women don't need to do that then?
What this all leads to is a bunch of single young men who have no hope and future for the world, and then a political party saying, don't be who you are, you should just be, it's like, it's not your turn, you know, you've had power for the last however many years, which, yeah, that's true, but so now you're not allowed to be successful. Then I go, okay, well, the only way that I can have what I want, which is a family to be successful and happy with, is to be successful. But you're saying don't, because you're stealing the shine from other people.
Where do you think the parties are saying that? Because I mean, I'm a lot more aware of UK politics, so that's like the examples I'm mostly basing on.
I'm more aware of them, yeah.
But I can't think of anywhere in like manifestos, for example, where they specifically say that. So I'm guessing it's sort of reading between the lines, right?
On the right, yeah, I feel like things are more simple and it's more common sense. It's more gal of my life. It's kind of more just like we're gonna run the country. We're gonna try and make things financially okay, and we'll leave you alone. And on the left, it's like, okay, well, you're more this than that person, you're more that than this person. We need to sort everything out and fix you and change your life and change who you are. So then you fit this hierarchy, which is the reverse of what's been in the past.
I mean, the phrase that's coming to mind with what you're saying is like, to privileged people, equality feels like oppression. Like, what do you feel like you have rights being taken away from you, or
no? But I feel like, I'm not talking about rights. I think we all have in the UK and America and whatever, we all have equal rights. But then because of history, there's like you shouldn't be successful now. It's other people's turn to be successful. Well, I think the people who should be successful are the people who deserve to be successful, no matter who you are. I like, it's not about if you're a boy or if you're a girl.
But do you not think that's what's happening?
No.
Like more.
Well, if you think about quotas and in like unis, when you get like the diversity, you get put into a uni if you're like, you get more chance, or.
Well, so I know someone who went to lived in a council estate and went to a really, really rough school, and because of that got lower entry requirements for Oxford University.
Yeah, that's to do with money.
Do you, more of like a socio-economic reason, but do you think that things like that
that's right, because that's money. So I think it should all be based on money. It shouldn't be based on skin colour.
But often money, when it comes to like wealth and class, go hand in hand with race.
Yeah, but you can just separate that, because there might be a black person who is rich and whatever. There might be a black person who's poor.
Then they probably wouldn't get that extra help to go
People do.
But like when it comes to say Oxbridge, it's like a big state school, private school thing. But oftentimes like.
Yeah, I think they should make it easier for people who are poor to get into uni, but nothing to do with race. So just do it based on money. Why does it have to be to do with race?
But it's not. Is it not a coincidence?
But you can take it based on the individual person instead of grouping a bunch of people.
But what I'm saying is, if you have like, statistically, right, if you take a group of people in a lower class in the UK, a lot of them are probably not going to be white, right?
But you can just take it based on money. Why do you have to include race?
But how do you know they're not?
What do you mean?
When you are applying for things like that, a lot of the time you won't have your name in it. It'll be anonymous. They can't like positively discriminate against you.
You can send them your tax bracket.
But I don't know.
So I think I'm just saying. I mean it like.
Because there are white people who get benefit from that. Obviously,
yeah,
there are still white people in lower classes.
But I think it should be just based on money, because when you include race, then you're making it racist in my eyes. Like, you know Stormzy.
How do you know race isn't like a second factor of it?
Because.
Like
it might be.
This is what I'm saying.
Might be, but I think we should get away from that. And the only way I think you can do that is by look. If I got a job and someone said, Sean, it's because you wear it's because you have blonde hair, and we only want people. There's less people with blonde hair here. I go, oh, so I'm just working here because of my hair.
That's actually discrimination, though.
Yeah, and I think it's discrimination going. You're only here because you're. If I got a job and I was like a black person, or I've got put into a uni, I might think, oh, I'm only here because of this, not because of I'm smart. Because I think we need to try and get away from all of the race, all of the gender thing, and just try and do it based on individual people. Because when you allow people to do what they want, most people are nice people, most people are fine, and people get pushed back up. And I think there needs to be some serious action to help out young men too, because I can genuinely see like a bunch of bad stuff happening from it. I mean, there's so much more like energy and hostility in the world, and I think a lot of that is because young men feel like they've been pushed to the side, and they can't, their needs are being ignored because they.
What needs do you feel could be being ignored?
Need male role models,
okay.
And they need to do. I think to be a good man, you need a good man to look up to.
So, would you describe a good man that you think that men should?
Someone
look up to?
who's competent, someone who's more useful than someone who gives more than they take.
Because like Andrew Tate, for example, he's sort of like a role model for a lot of young boys and men will look up to him. Do you think someone like that is a good role model for young boys?
Are you saying, is he a good role model or is he a good man?
Is he a good role model for young boys?
Well, I'm going to answer both questions. I think that he is a useful person if you're. I think most of the stuff he says is fine, but I don't like the attitude he has towards girls and like sleeping with multiple people and having kids with a bunch of people. But if you're a guy who's like who lives in his basement all day and doesn't go outside and has no, you know what I mean, like it's just like one of those people, and you see someone saying dramatic like, be strong, be powerful, be rich, do this, get loads of girls, get a Bugatti, like get a fast car, you go, oh right, and it just kicks your brain into gear because it's like you need that extreme to get you. And I think a lot of Andrew Tate's definitely impacted my life, like, and a lot of my friends' lives in a positive way. Yeah, so many of my friends started working out and getting fitter and becoming religious and like, I know this sounds weird, but one of the main things, I know this is a random thing, but that I got from him is he said like, you need to respect your parents, and I never really appreciated my parents before, and it's just because it's this guy that's so like, and I don't like the attitude towards women, but then that's not the person. You don't want to be him. I don't think that's the ultimate person to be, but it's good to get you out of your seat.
Do you see an issue with like a lot of young impressionable boys seeing a man like that? Because like as you get older, you can sort of be less, like, more subjective when looking up to people and picking parts that you do or don't agree with. But for young boys, do you not feel like, you know, working out loads, like all those things and being successful could be connotated with like all the misogyny that comes with it? Because Andrew Tate, when it comes to his track record with women, is disgusting.
But I don't know anyone. I mean, my friends are nice people. I've never come across anyone who likes him and has had I can only speak from me and my friends, but I actually think we've become more like nice to girls and more respectful to girls, and I'm not even joking. Not because of what he says, but just because of like, when you start taking care of yourself and trying to make more money and trying to be more healthy, you you just become a better person. I know that sounds crazy. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't look up to him for any of the bad stuff. I don't know anyone that does.
An issue I have with the right is like, I agree with like driving success and everything, but those figures will always have some kind of bad track. Like Trump, for example, Nigel Farage.
I've got a bad track record.
Like, have really horrible track records when it comes to rape.
Well, not about
like,
that, but
yeah, like, you know, the human trafficking side of things, like all of that. Like, my issue is like those things should be able to be separated, but it sounds like the role models that are kind of that young men are kind of going towards, like, don't have just.
Do you know? I think the way I think about it is Batman is a male role model, and Batman's not a nice guy.
I don't know much about
Batman's. I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's dark and he's like dangerous and he's evil, and like that is a big part of being like a man, is like having the capability to be violent, to be strong, to be powerful, and a lot of the best people have dark pasts. Like, I think there is something about that which is attractive. I'm not saying that what they've done is right, but it's like there's definitely something about it that's attractive as a guy. Like, just being honest, it's like a cowboy or Batman or like Iron Man. They're all a little bit like.
I guess it's like, I think what you're describing is a very clear example of like the female gaze versus like the male gaze, because like the characters that like a lot of women really look up to like aren't necessarily the most conventionally attractive. They're usually a lot more soft and emotional, and that's the thing.
And all the guys like are just like
yeah, because like I know so many women that would much prefer to date a guy that was like ugly, like but a really nice person that takes care of her.
But I think you would rather date someone that is someone that takes care of you.
But it's not.
But I think that
I don't think many women find aggression attractive.
But it's not aggression though. It's channeled aggression into the right place. Like, I'm an aggressive person.
I feel like it's a bit of like a catch-22 with like, you know, feeling. I don't know how to word it, but
I know what you mean.
If you looking up to a man like Andrew Tate who's telling you you're this, this, and this, if you can't afford all these things and you don't have this amazing job, do you not feel like that the cycle just feeds into itself of where are these men hearing it in the first place that they need to be all these things?
You do. You need to be financially successful, obviously, if you want.
I guess financial success means different things to different
but
people.
But yeah, you need to have money.
Yeah.
And that's getting harder, obviously, for people. You need to be strong. You need to be healthy. It's like, I can't see how any of those things are. Basically, I feel like there's two kinds of. Yeah, there is like a where does the belief start?
Yeah.
But it's like, I think there's a fundamental reality that everyone should be trying to be as successful and healthy and strong and physically fit and capable and powerful as they can.
So, like, going back, so you were 18 in the last election, right? You told me you spoilt your ballot.
Yeah, I did spoil my ballot.
Just out of interest, why do you feel like Labour wouldn't benefit you? And because I know you said before that you look at politics and you don't see yourself represented. Right. But if you look in the House of Commons, on all sides, there will be people who will look exactly like you in 40 years' time.
It's not about how I look.
So
I don't care about how I look. If a doorknob was saying the things that I believe in, I would go. I want that doorknob to be president.
You're saying that young white men in particular don't feel
it's
like.
But that's not like a law thing. Yeah. That's like a being kicked out of the group of people who can have issues.
What do you think that like Labour's done, for example, that doesn't make them feel included?
It's not even the political party, and I don't even think it's the. I know way more about like American because it's like that's just what I see on my phone. Yeah. But I mean it more like as a cultural thing, and because the people who are on the left are on that side.
Do you see Labour as like a left-wing party?
No, they're not super left-wing, but I mean like if you talk about the riots that happened in the summer, like. I think that whether you think those people are wrong or right, you need to listen to people who are no matter who they are. If you have a bunch of people freaking out on the street, right? You need to go, well, what are you freaking out about? And I felt like there was none of that. I'm not saying that.
Okay, but when the things they're freaking out about is like immigrants and they're trying to burn them alive in hotels, how do you reason with them to stop that without just giving them what they want?
No. You say like, I just felt. It's hard because it's like what they're doing is obviously not right.
Yeah.
But when you have, I don't know how to describe this. It's like I think a lot of people did it because they don't feel like their problems are heard. And I was thinking about this morning. It's like, you know, BLM.
Right.
They were burning a bunch of stuff down, but because that aligns with what is the common belief, and it's towards what might be right more than maybe what that was. It's like people listen to them and no, I don't think anything's really changed. I don't know. What
I guess it's the difference between like trying to get freedom and progress for like your racial group. For example.
I think what basically, I think that no one. What a lot of people are talking about is that when you have a bunch of people come into the country and not assimilate and not become British, that's an issue. I think maybe some of the people are racist, but I know people.
Some of them. You think only some of them are racist?
Let me finish what I'm saying. Okay. I know people who I know there was basically a guy from the skate park who was part of that world, and.
Wait, which world?
Like EDL kind of world.
Oh right, okay.
And like when we first met him, he was really racist, and he was like older than me, and people kind of like just like kind of ignoring him, and he calmed down when we all just chatted to him and spoke to him about it and was like, what's going on? So he believed that he was a Nazi, and he was like white people are whatever, white people whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's still right wing and he's still doing this stuff, but like basically what I think what a lot of the people are saying is that if you're going to come into the UK, you need to become British, you need to have British values, you need to, you know what I mean, you need to be British. And there is an issue with illegal immigration. And I feel like if the government said, we know what you're doing is really wrong and really violent, which I think the protests were wrong and violent, but we see what you are saying about illegal immigration. We're going to try our best to stop that.
But they've already deported 10,000
but instead what they did is they arrested a bunch of people and said, you're not allowed to have that belief.
Well, when the belief is that.
But they arrested them for the belief, not for the crime. Like I'm totally up for arresting someone that burnt down a hotel. But you should never arrest someone for a belief ever, or anything you say.
That's extremist belief. Okay, so if
you
have someone who's sat there saying, I'm gonna bomb this group of people because I believe this, but they haven't planned anything yet. You think we shouldn't be able to? No, but you should be able to put them. You should be able to put them on a list. Discrimination. You should be able to put them on a list saying, okay, you're on the bomb list. We're gonna make sure you don't get a bomb. But I'm not, and that's on it. But I'm talking about say someone is racist. You can't arrest someone for having racist beliefs, even if they are racist, or put them in jail. But I think it's the extremism of it. Well, so someone walks down the street and says a slur like the N-word, they're not going to get arrested for it. No. But if they go up to someone and start attacking them saying of course, they're going to get arrested. But they should be arrested. But they should be arrested for the attack. Now, because there's tons of people who got arrested for tweets. Have they all turned
At this point, we were talking for so long the camera stopped recording, so not all of our conversation was captured.
It was only just now.
Do you think people should be arrested for tweets?
It depends what the tweets are.
Oh, that's crazy.
This one, the car.
But it's the prevention of it, isn't it?
No, but you can prevent them by monitoring them, not by arresting them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like in conclusion, what is a simple fix for young men not voting right wing as much or not feeling those negative feelings that lead to that?
How do you mean? How can the left get more young men to vote for them?
I guess, yeah.
By championing it. By advocating for young men more.
Okay.
Like, I would say, cut out all the gender, race, whatever, and just go, who are you individually? How can I help you individually? Yeah. And don't go, oh, you're a man, so life's much easier for you. Like, so you don't really deserve all this kind of thing, because depending it doesn't matter if it's true or not, no one's going to vote for someone that doesn't support them.
Yeah. I guess, like, in the US, I think that can be applied a lot more.
Yeah, in the UK it's a bit different.
Because in the UK, I don't think we have culture wars as bad.
No, and I didn't vote. The only reason I didn't vote, I didn't fall on ballot paper, is because I just felt like everyone was just a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the chat. It's been very enlightening. So yeah, thank you. Let's go.
That camera is
I have a lot to say. I mean, first of all, before the interview actually started, he was showing me Instagram reels about Nazis, which I felt was quite interesting. I've had a lot of interactions with Sean before, and that's probably the most like restraint I've seen him before. Often he goes a lot more angry and red in the face and like raising his voice, and he did a bit there, but I think he was a lot more filtered as well, probably because the cameras were on. But when I try and think about the craziest thing he said, I genuinely don't know. I don't know whether it was the bit about how it's a bad thing that people are trying to make men more polite and less aggressive because that's like a woman, or the bit about defending racists trying to, kill refugees by burning down their hotels. There was quite a lot in there. I'm still trying to process it and go through it because there were so many like what on earth moments that I'm struggling to pick them all out. But it was an interesting insight into it. I still don't understand where he's getting this idea that like the UK hates white men, because like it just doesn't. We literally have like a white male prime minister, and if that says anything, it's like the general population doesn't. So I find it interesting getting so many really strong beliefs on something that he admits is a very small but loud minority. There definitely are people I've met that hate men, but like I said, it's a very small group of people, so I don't understand why it's being blown up into turning to like a hateful person. But yeah, overall, do I agree with anything you said? Not really. Was it insightful? Yes. Am I sympathetic to his situation? Honestly, no. Something that just kept going through my head was womp womp, because like genuinely, like grow up. Like respectfully, you're just mad that other people also getting their privileges. Like that whole thing about like being annoyed that people in like non-white races are like getting help to go to university, but then was complaining that like there's a lack of young men in university. So it's like, which one is it? Like, pick. So yeah. Well, there you have it. Why are young men voting increasingly for right wing? Maybe you learned something and maybe you didn't, but hopefully this wasn't a waste of 10 or so minutes, and it's made you think about things. So thanks for watching.